I'm Leah Tindale. This is Note to Self. Welcome back to another episode. It's wonderful to have your company today. Just me as I fly solo to unpack some of the notes to self that are circling in my mind. We've had some amazing guests recently. Luke Moore from Stack podcasts over in the UK. He is one of the hosts of the Football Ramble, which have had like over 10 million views. If you haven't had a chance to watch the episode yet, make sure you absolutely do after this one. Lots of gold gems in there. Then some of them that kind of feed in today. But the big note to self that I've been swirling around with is this: how to stay very present, because the world is getting crazier and crazier and busier and busier. And I think the one thing that we can really all glean from as an antidote to that is to sort of stay in the here and now. And yeah, we can think to the future and forward plan a little bit and try and get some sort of structure going. But if we can really learn to be in today, in the present, then we're in for, well, a survivable time, I guess, is the takeaway, hopefully. And so I guess I wanted to unpack some of the thoughts that I've been having around how I'm doing that, because it is so, so difficult. One of the things that I think that has been really helping me to stay in today and stay present is the sort of notion that things really end. And without being like doom and gloom, I suppose it's like using what can be a fear of like, oh, okay, this amazing job might end, or maybe my partner one day will go away, or maybe I may not be able to have the health and fitness that I have today. And instead of being panicked about that, using some of that fear and twisting them around and framing it or reframing it, I suppose, to use it as an energy source. So for me at the moment, the job I'm in breakfast radio, it has, I'm in a maternity leave contract. I don't know if the other lady is coming back. We'll find out in another 10 weeks. And it's really hard because I absolutely love this job. I love my colleagues. I love the work that we get to do on air. I love waking up with people every morning. It gives me so much energy. We have so much fun. But at the end of the day, it's her job, right? So I've been fortunate enough to have it for this season and for this year. But that means there's an end date. So if there's an end date, I can freak out about that. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely do. I absolutely freak out about that a lot, of what's next, what's around the corner, where will I go, what will I do, will I be as happy, all of that. Like I can get really stuck in my head. But I'm trying to be like, okay, well, if there is only, say, 3 months left doing what I'm doing now with these people that I love working with one of my best friends, then I need to make sure I am so present in the here and now and really relish and sort of squeeze every last drop out of it. Because I think if I start thinking too much of what's next? I got to hedge my bets. I've got to find something that's going to be the next job or whatever. I'm going to miss out on what is right in front of me. And it is so good. It's so good. I don't want to look to the left or right. I want to look at what's right in front of me. And that's so hard to do. Like I'm a perfectionist. I like to be organized, a plan. In this economy, we all like to know where our next meal is coming from, where we're going to get our income from. And while I'm fortunate to still be on a sort of permanent contract, so I'll probably just be given a different job on air somewhere, it's hard because the job I have right now is like an absolute dream job. And so it's this weird transition as well of like finally coming into something that you've wanted for so long, but then knowing it's finite and needing to be able to really live in the moment and really relish in what it is while it is happening and not forward plan. Because even when I first got this job, I was like, right, okay, this is great, but it's going to be over in a year. So what's next? And, you're keeping the feelers going. But what is here right now is I just want to make sure I'm not missing a beat. I'm not missing a second of it. And I think that's something that's come up for me as well, is like trying to take what is an anxiety and what's a fear. And the antidote of that is, instead of doubling down on trying to control a narrative, trying to put things in place for when the other shoe does drop, or try and figure out, okay, well, I can stop it from happening, or I can have this thing lined up, is actually doing the opposite of that and doing nothing and really being in the moment. And it's so hard to do because yeah, like stress and anxiety, it can be so loud sometimes. And I think we just really need to slow down and feel the day, feel the moment, be in, right now I'm just with you. And to be honest, there's so many things going on. There's a lot of staff that is still here at work while I'm in this studio. The next door studio is having a lot of bassy music. I don't know what they're testing or what promotions they're doing or whatever. But so I'm like, it's not really working. I should have probably just done this podcast at home. But here I am trying to just be present with you. It leads into like the fact that I'm getting married also in about 5 months' time. And this is brought up a lot of other anxieties for me. Obviously, previously spoken about being divorced, and that being divorced means that when you go into marriage a second time, you're like, why am I doing this? Am I a fool? Am I a sucker for punishment? Why do I want to traverse this road again that only gave me such heartbreak? But I'm forever the optimist, forever the romantic. And I think leaning into these things, first of all, you got to ask the questions. Okay, be like, okay, why am I afraid? What are the things that are hindering me? And if you are focusing on, okay, the things about your partner that it's like, all right, well, no, if we didn't get married, would I still want to be with him? Yes. So therefore, it's more about the marriage act itself that is freaking me out and not something to do with the relationship. So if that's the case, then I can move towards it even though I'm afraid, because I know it'll be beautiful and I know it's a declaration that I want to make in front of my friends and family. I want to celebrate how far we've both come and where we are in our life and celebrate this season together. But it's a tricky one because I think as well, when you start thinking about vows, you start thinking about forever and making these big grandeur promises that we just actually don't know. And like, it's so pessimistic to talk like this, but it's also realistic. And a lot of things that my partner and I have talked about from the very beginning when we first started dating was that you can't actually promise somebody forever, because that is not a promise that you can action out every day other than just blanket ruling. And so I guess that means you never divorce. But if you are promising someone forever, you're actually promising them a whole subset of rules and regulations and ideas or concepts or promises that you then aren't talking about and that you haven't got the framework for. So when we started dating, said that we would never pull the rug out from under each other. And basically that concept is of communicating to each other along the way. Anytime there's going to be a change of who we are, who we're growing to be, what we want, so that at any given point you can continue to choose each other, choose the journey and the life that you're building together. Because I think what happens sometimes, we meet our partners, we go through life together, and life changes us in so many ways, as we know, for the good, for the bad. We want to then also be like, okay, well, I don't want to be like who I was at 25. This 35, 45, 55 version of myself is a new version of myself. And maybe I want a little bit of more of this. Maybe I want to try a completely different hobby or skill, or maybe I want to hang out with a different type of people, and to allow your partner to reveal themselves to you over and over again. And that also means that your partner then has that space to do that. And then you can also trust that they're going to come to you with the information about themselves. So you don't have to be surprised if one day, maybe you met when you're 22 and then all of a sudden you're 35 and you thought you were never going to have kids. And then at 35, they say to you, no, I really, really want to have children. Then if you've had little conversations along the way, and they can say, oh, I think this might be changing, you're never going to be completely shocked. They're never going to be so surprised about that conversation. And I mean, that's really tricky. You need partners that are able to communicate really well. That's a really big thing, obviously, and communication is like the hardest thing to do, I feel like, in a relationship. But it's also just so important to try and nail that in. And maybe that language doesn't work for you, but maybe it's something to try on and be like, okay, yeah, we promise to never blindside each other. We promise to always communicate, and on the other side, allow each other space to grow into whatever we want to become and adapt. And I think one of the big mistakes I made when I was married previously is like, well, no, I married this person. No, I married a man who was like this. And then he started to change and I couldn't let that picture go of him. I couldn't allow him to change and reveal himself and reveal who he wanted to be. And so I think there was lots of things that went wrong in that relationship, but one of the things I know I played my part with is that I didn't then create a safe space for him to be able to come and reveal himself to me, because I was still holding on to this idea of who he wanted to be for all of sorts of my own reasons. And I think if we can do those two things, if we can allow our partners to continue to reveal themselves of who they want to be and who they want to become, and we can promise that we're not going to blindside the other person as we do feel ourselves changing, then I think we're in for a really strong relationship. And when I think like that, then the fears go away. It's like, yeah, the fears are there when I'm like, oh yes, we're going to promise each other and be together forever, because there's nothing grounded in that. There's nothing strong or absolute. There's nothing like concrete. There's no promises that you're actually making. It's just like, I'm going to love you forever. Well, you can't promise that because you don't know what forever entails. And it is very hard. It's very difficult to allow somebody to change, because it also means if they change, that might mean that they might not love you in the same way, or your relationship would change. And there is so much rational fear and nervousness around that as well. So that I think, with all of that in mind and all that context in mind, I think this learning how to be in the moment is the only way as well that you can then walk into a marriage, walk into a long-term relationship, walk into a big decision, because you're like, okay, well, I can't control where you're going to be in 10 years. I don't even know who you're going to be in 10, 20 years, but I can be here right now. And what's the information I have from you right now? Who are you saying you are now? Who am I wanting to be now? And communicate those things. And I think there's a lot of peace in that place. It's funny, it keeps coming up, and I'm no way a master of this. And Luke was talking as well, this learning to be content, learning to be present in the moment. I think it's one of the greatest things as you age, as you get older, you learn that like right now is the most important moment. The people that you're with right now are the most important people. You listening, you are the most important person right now in this moment, having this listening to me, taking on information, trying to, do whatever you're doing in this moment. That is the most important thing that you can be doing right now. And it's interesting, like my partner is about to start FIFO again. And if you're not from Australia, you probably won't know what FIFO is. It's fly in, fly out. So you do a roster swing of sort of a week on away, and then you come back for a week. He's done this work before and I hate it. Like, I miss him so much. I get my abandonment issues triggered, like all of these things. I don't do very well when he comes and goes. I'm trying though this time to be a better partner in this space, because I know I've learned so much about myself. I know my triggers now. And I also know if you're the person leaving, for your partner to be like a crying mess and being like, oh, I don't want you to, like, that doesn't help him do the job and the work that we've both agreed that he's going to do. So I'm wanting to be better this time. I'm wanting to support my self better. I want to surround myself with like things to do and hobbies and interests more, so I'm not so at the whim of a changing tide of him coming and going, and going to get more routine in. But I also want to really practice this being present and being in the moment. So in the lead up for him going, I want to just relish in every moment and time we have together. And I think that'll fill my cup for when he is away. And then vice versa. Then when he's away and comes back, the weeks that he's back, then hopefully as I grow that muscle, I can really focus on just being present and just relishing in each moment we have together. These are such obvious things, and I think it doesn't really matter if it's because, things are really good right now and you want to hold on to it, or you're afraid things will change. We just don't know what life has to offer. And like, I want good things to be around the corner. I don't want bad things to be around the corner, but they probably will be. If we live in a way where things could change, and instead of taking it as an anxious lens, we take it that it's something that can empower us to be here right now, then maybe that could be really productive, and maybe that could be a wonderful thing, and maybe that would help quieten the stress and anxiety that's going on. Now, this is a lot of information, a lot of thoughts, and this is why it's a big note to self that I've been sort of playing with, because I do feel so overwhelmed with with joy and gratitude at the moment. Leads me into my second note to self. And this one's a bit weirder to say because I feel like how often do people actually celebrate when they're in a good spot, right? Like people always talking about, oh, things are really hard, things are really terrible, or I'm really struggling. But really, it's weird. I'm struggling, like a weirdo that I am. I'm struggling because I'm feeling so grateful and joyful and full of love and gratitude for where I'm at in my life, what I've got in my life, who's in my life, the work that I get to do, who I get to talk to, all of these fantastic, amazing things. And that's really weird. It's really weird to be so joyful and not know what to do with the joy, not know what to do with the overwhelm of love and like friendship and community and all of these amazing things. There's a couple of things going on here. On one side, there's the doom and gloom of the world. There's the stress and anxiety of the world. And this is happening. These feelings I have of joyfulness and gratitude and all these are happening despite this swirly mess of life in the world and stress and will we be able to pay for things and all of that. Despite that, I've got this other side where my cup and my heart is so full. I feel like I burst at the seams sometimes. Like you go for a walk and I see the stars, I see a bird, and it tips me over. Maybe that place seems so far away from you. Maybe you've never experienced that place, but it's a very odd place to be in because we're not really allowed to talk about when we're actually really good. And I don't even know how to put that into a category or a box or a definition or something. Like I've been feeling really guilty that I've been feeling happy because it's so foreign to me, this level of like delirious joy. And I don't know if I'm alone in this. And please leave a comment and tell me or like if you've ever experienced this because it feels very unhinged. It feels very, very unhinged. And I've been searching for a way to sort of contain it, I suppose. And it's led me on this journey of discovery into a concept called skinlessness, which you may or may not have come across. And basically, it is a term that's often applied to creatives where it's like you move through life without a skin. Everything you feel deeply, colours move you, the ocean moves you, people move you, you're very empathetic. And it is the greatest way I can describe how I'm experiencing, I feel like how I've been experiencing most of my life. But I've discovered that I think for the longest time, like all of my 20s, all of my teens growing up, I've had these big, bursting, juicy emotions, but I haven't had a way or a space or felt like I could experience them. I couldn't let them out. I couldn't flesh them out. I couldn't let them grow or just feel them and let them be. It felt like I always had to control them, confine them, put them in a box. Otherwise, they'll overtake me. They'll overtake my life. They'll overtake the family. They'll disrupt everything. And I need to keep myself small and diminished. And I think this is an interesting thing because I think we do this. We do this a lot as women, but a lot of people do this. Men do this all the time as well because there hasn't historically been a place for your emotions. You have to be tough. So you put them away, you put them in the boxes because you go, no, that's the feelings box. And I think we're all trying to live in this masculine world where it doesn't work. Things don't actually fit in boxes. Things are so grey and nuanced and they blend all together, and what one person is feeling can be slightly different to someone else, even if in the exact same situation. And so it's been fascinating to go through and to think about how you take this overwhelming feeling of joy and goodness and gratitude and like I'm going to pop and let it be. And not do anything with it. And that is the wildest thing of all, is like in amongst all of the feelings that I've ever felt, this is probably the hardest one. I reckon grief is very hard. I want to pack that away, but you never can. And joy in overabundance. To let it sit, to not try and pack it away, to not feel guilty, to really let it be. And I've actually realised how bad I am at actually being with my emotions. I think that I've been so used to trying to control a narrative, trying to master perfection, not trying to not upset the boat, that I really don't know how to just be still and sit with the things that come up and that sort of overwhelm me. And so that's going to be that's my big other note to self, is to be still and let these feelings be. And I've started writing more. It's a great way to like process those feelings and give them space. Talking to you about it, obviously, is fantastic to just give them space. And I hope I can stay in this moment. I hope I can combine these two things and really stay in the moment of this joy and really squeeze every last drop out of it, no matter what job changes, no matter what happens with work and my partner, no matter what happens on the day of my wedding, like all of those things are irrelevant. If I can just be in the moment right now, I know I can continue to find joy and I can let it have a space and I can find room for it and I can really live life, because we can't keep thinking about tomorrow, because today is where our life is. Today is where we're living, and tomorrow we will have missed it. So they're my two notes to self. I really encourage you to sit with whatever it is that you've got going on. I really hope that you've got some joyful things, and if not, you can find some silver linings out there. I don't know if these are ever helpful when I talk by myself. If you got anything out of this, absolutely please write me a comment. Let me know what you think. Send me a message on my Instagram, Leah_Tindale_. I'd absolutely love to hear from you, because all we can do is be present, be in the moment, and try and just sit with all of the big messy feelings that we've got and not try and control and put everything in a box. And I think it's scary, but I don't know. I feel good about it.